Hello, everyone in chat. What is up? We're just updating e-news, and then we will be ready to rock. Has the second map started for Cloud9 yet?
Yeah, I can hear it on my. It's on a different screen, but it's on. Man, that's almost its own topic. Are you at Nell's thing right now?
The Alex stuff?
Yeah.
Yep. So we're caught up?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. You ready?
Yeah. Give me 2 seconds. I need to pull up the CDL stuff.
All right. Not a problem.
All right.
All right. Let me hit record here. Everything's good. Hello. Yep. So let me just change one thing here. All right. Hello and what is up? Welcome to episode 319 of the Centering Esports podcast presented by Alt. And this is going to be the best episode ever. We have Yikes of the Week. We are reintroducing the Salt Mine as we highlight members of the community who are just salty. And catch up on CDL as Stage 2 wrapped up, and we have the Major coming up on Thursday. So we'll talk about that today, just to give some time to listen to, and as well a packed e-news to wrap things up. But before we get to any of that, let me tell you about the show sponsor, Alt Esports, ultesports.com. That's where you need to go right now as you're listening to the number one esports podcast. You can pick yourself up number one esports apparel. We've mentioned before they've partnered with Call of Duty Pro Arcides to have his personal lineup. There is none available right now, but you can still sign up to be notified when they are available. And they are fresh tie-dye black and white, and another one black and red hoodie with Arcides signature rose decal. Very clean looking. Also, the Overwatch League is right around the corner. They are official partners with them as well. You can pick up some Doodle collection I see is actually on sale right now. Their 90s tees are on sale right now. One of my personal favorites that Alt has ever done. The Doodle collection is on sale, so you can also pick that up. altesports.com. You tell them the Center Ring sent you.
Hey, this is James Clayster Eubanks, and you're listening to the Center Ring.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome. Welcome back to another edition of the Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast. Episode 319 coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date, April 4th, 2021. Happy Easter to one and all. The time, 9:08 p.m. Central Time. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring and our website, tcr.gg. Twitter description also has all the links to our Discord as well as Patreon if you feel like being generous and supporting the show, like number one listener Joey did this week. So he is an honorary official ringer. Though even if you just listen, you are a ringer. We don't love you any less if you don't pay to support the show. But we do love you more if you do. So, there's that. My name is Tim. I'll be your captain for this journey into esports. And alongside me, as always, is my best friend. My brown friend. My double dip on every Christian holiday friend because he's Indian, but his wife is a Christian friend. It's Anuj. What's up?
Happy Easter, buddy.
Happy Easter to you. Do you feel good? Do you feel good stealing something from the white man?
Double dipping is allowed, okay? Because first of all, I'm doing this for my child more than anything, Tim. Okay, he needs to be able to experience both cultures.
Oh,
it's important that I'm
I like
involved.
the twist.
You know, I'm just, I'm trying to be a good parent. I'm trying to do the best that I can do every day. And if double dipping is something I have to do, you know, I'm damn sure I'm going to do it.
You know what? Touche on you. You turned it on me.
Thank you.
That's a very
I have found a way to use my child in every possible scenario known to me. There's nothing I cannot use him for at this point.
Like, you know, it's like Anuj,
He
you're
is
being
the
a little
perfect excuse.
Yeah, it's like, hey Anuj, why are you being so tense right now? Why are you being so demanding? I have to teach the boy obedience. He needs to know. He needs to know there are rules that you need to follow. No, I like it. I love it. I welcome you into the Christian holiday.
Thank you.
So
I even take advantage at work, and I can take both off. You know, obviously the Christian holidays are already given, and then Indian holidays, I'm like,
listen, do you really get work off for Indian holidays?
Just the volley.
All right. I was gonna say, because if that's the case, you're taking off like half the calendar year. Like work, that would be something like work would agree to and then quickly be like, all right, yeah, man, no problem. And then they'd be like looking at a calendar to see how many holidays there are. And they'd be like, oh.
I'm praying to over 200 gods right now. I take off for each of their birthdays.
Yeah, like, sorry, man. It's another God's birthday. What do you want me to do? Gonna need a day off here.
Try to teach the kid.
Sorry. Yeah, right. I would want to be at work. Trust me. It's just the family. You know, family back at home base. They want me there. What can I say? Speaking of family, we were TCR family. We were accepted by Riot to do watching parties for VCT Stage 2. I believe it's all of Stage 2. If I check the email now and I'm wrong, then I'm liable for doing that. But if I don't check an email to double check, ignorance is bliss and we can just do it all of Stage 2.
Yeah. No, I think that's what it said.
Stage 2, yes. So all of Stage 2 we are now having permission from Riot to do watch parties. So I did one last night, the first of what will be many, but we'll take a look at the calendar whenever we have some free time. Just expect either Anuj or me or both to hop on, watch some Valorant with you guys. We'll be in Discord, so feel free to hop in Discord if you want to chat while watching them. The only rule is don't be a dick. Like that, to sum it up, just don't be a dick. And you don't get us in trouble. That's really all we ask. But yeah, so it should be good, should be fun, entertaining. I was going to do some today, but you know what? Holiday weekend, Easter weekend, nonetheless. Tough to convince the
Little hard for first one for
yeah.
the little ones. So
Tough to convince the missus to hey, can I just get on, all day to do this? So we'll obviously do that and work around kids' sleeping schedules here and there. But no, yesterday I watched some with some listeners in chat, and it was a lot of fun. And we actually had some good matches. We won't talk about it now. We'll talk about it on Wednesday because we have too much to get to now. But just a heads up, we'll be doing some more watching parties for VCT coming up here for stage 2. As the round of 16 is just about to wrap up. So we'll have the qualified and all that fun stuff. Other show news. Recently, if you saw on Twitter at the Center Ring, I'll also post it on the website here later tonight. I did an interview with Spotify, just general about esports, the podcast, esports podcast industry stuff. So go check that out. That was actually pretty cool of them. And, Spotify, it's a pretty big deal. I would say so.
Yeah.
Not bad to have on your resume. So go check it out at the Center Ring. We retweeted it the other day when they tweeted it out. You can go check out that interview in written form. So
they offered us the same amount they offered Joe Rogan, and we had to say no right now because of other things we're working on. But
much bigger deals.
Yeah, we told him if you bump that number up a little bit, might be interested.
Come back our way. So there's that. That was literally like a year ago too. So I have not gone back to read it. I have no idea what I said. Like I didn't, like, no joke. I did the interview, I think, like right when COVID kind of first started, and then it was put on the back burner on their end because of COVID, and now it's just finally out there. So
for the world to see.
Who knows what 1 year ago Tim said.
Talked about.
Yeah, like who knows. So go and check that out. And I think that's it as far as I can think of for quick show updating news. That being said, it is Sunday night for Monday's show, and that can only mean one thing, Anuj, and that means it's time for everyone's favorite segment, Yikes of the Week. It's where we go through moments of the week that just made you go, yikes. If you ever have one yourself, feel free to definitely tweet it at us, slide in our DMs, get into our Discord and let us know, because we love to hear them, and we'll definitely highlight it on the show as well. So without further ado, Anuj, why don't you start with your yikes, because I still cannot find mine in our chat, though I know it's somewhere here. So you just continue.
I got the lead here. So no, this one was pretty fun actually, because I'm a little shocked at how they handled the situation. This is going into the CDL. We're going to be talking about CDL some more later today. This was regarding Cammy, one of the players for Ultra, and he had recently tweeted out a derogatory word. And are we allowed to say the word, Tim?
Yeah, feel free. Feel free.
Okay. He said cunt, and mind you, he's like from Scottish descent.
Now you just have to do an apology.
No, I'm sorry I said it. I just wanted to let the listener know, what we were talking about here. But yeah, that's what he said. He tweeted it out. Essentially, what ended up happening is they have now made him take sensitivity training, similar to what Freakazoid had to do for his bullying situation. And he is also having to make a donation to a local women's shelter, which the Ultra will match. And look, that part's great. Like making a donation in general, like so you're going to support that part of it. That makes it seem a little bit better. But yikes on Ultra, man, because this is like it seems we're tightening up a little too much here. You know, he's from Scotland, I believe. He's from Edinburgh. I feel like that's a little bit more of a normal word there, just like you would say it in Australian culture. A little bit more like I feel like it's just there's some words that are more acceptable, and maybe we have to be a little bit more inclusive of their culture instead of worrying about it, your own so much. So yeah, I feel bad for them because they put out this official statement on their Twitter, and it just makes it look like he did something really wrong, when in general I'm sure this is something that is said very frequently. I don't think he was using it in a way where he was, if you're using it towards an individual, that's a little rough, right? But if you're just kind of saying it in the heat of the moment when it comes to a particular situation, and again, not a person,
My
we can let some things slide.
So here's my take on this, and this might surprise you, Anuj. I'm pretty loose with my tongue as well, so I understand where he's coming from. I think we have evolved as people to where certain words don't mean what they originally meant, right? Gay being one of them, for the worse. Gay used to mean happy, right? Was it Flintstones? Meet the Flintstones. We'll have a gay old time. There's a Christmas song in it about being happy. And now it means homosexual. Things change. I believe the word cunt, which is translated into English, as I believe, is also bitch, don't necessarily mean female anymore. And I get into this debate with my wife all the time, where like we're driving and someone will be going slow. I'm like, you dumb bitch, please go faster. And she's like, well, how do you know they're a woman? I'm like, how did you know I meant woman? Like, I don't, like, I'm not saying, like, no. I'm not saying they're a woman, therefore they're a bitch. I'm saying, no. They're just a bitch. And I feel like this was used in that same context where it's like, no. I'm not saying a cunt, not all women, or not all cunts are women.
Yeah, like you can just be a cunt to be a cunt.
Yeah. Like I feel like there's like a South Park episode about this where it's like, look, it's not a 1-for-1 trade here.
We're getting away from like the whole seeing sex thing anyway, aren't we? So like the words should not be associated purely with you talking to like that individual. And so
I feel like
I just think they made him look really bad. By the donation to the women's shelter is a nice gesture for what they're doing, but it's just not how he intended the word to be said. I don't think anybody took it that way. That's the
literally
other thing. It's
no
not
one
like
took
there
it that
was
way.
like an uproar of, oh my gosh, look at the word that he just said.
Look, when
It's
they
like
made the
org saw
statement
it and decided to penalize him for it and then make it a big deal,
when they made the statement, like, and you know how orgs do it, they'll post a picture with just a wall of text. I love the wall of text posts, right? Like, I don't even know what you would call, I call it the statement pictures. Whenever, something has happened when an org puts out those statement pictures where it's just a basic background with words on it. And you're like, uh-oh, somebody did something here. Something's happening with this org, and it's not good. It's never good. And I think a lot of people were confused. Like, a lot of people were trying to look up, like, wait, what did he say? And then they realized, like, oh, you're doing all this because he said cunt? Not even, like, directly, like, towards someone. It wasn't even like he called a specific person. So, and also, for Toronto Ultra to do this, kind of off-brand. Like, they released shirts last season with the F word on it. So, like, yeah, like, because it's Ultra as fuck, right? So they had, like, Toronto as, and then with the word. Yeah. So, I feel like that's like, you can't be that cool parent. Like, this is the issue as a parent, Anuj. We can talk on this. I am perfectly fine never being the cool parent. Like, I will never have my kids' friends come over and be like, hey, why don't you guys have a drink with us? It's okay, right? Because then there's always that line where you can't be the cool parent anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like, sure, have a sip of my beer, but then there's always that line. Just don't ever give them that leeway. And Toronto,
No, like you can have the sip, you can't have the beer.
right. Like, and I felt like Toronto tried to be that cool hip team where it's like, guys, look, we're in Oregon, we use the F word. But then it's like here, it's like, oh.
I just don't know where, like, again, where it came from. You know, if the league came down and said, hey, one of your players said this, like, you need to address it, or if they took the action the way they did. And either way, it just comes across as weird. Like, you could have told them just to delete the post, you know, and
It was a cunt move, Anuj. Cunt move by
it was.
Toronto. And you're right. Like if they
We'll,
are
we'll
like,
be
hey,
making a
let's not
statement
use that
tomorrow.
let's not use that language, then they should just probably shoot him a message saying, yo, we're not gonna say anything public, but just from a PR standpoint, could you not? And
Yeah,
that
like it's such an easy way to address this.
and that I completely understand. Like for listeners, you probably don't know this. Anuj wants to use the N-word all the time on the show.
like daily.
Like you just are like, I don't see, like I'm
Me
brown
and my
skinned.
wife are constantly like saying it back and forth, and
Yeah.
like we're hoping it would be Hudson's first word, but
Being
doesn't look like
cultural,
we're gonna
that
get
makes
that.
sense.
Yeah.
So, but I'm like, hey, from a PR standpoint, just not a good look. Don't do it. And so it's understandable. Like I get from that.
I get
point.
it. Like we're trying to get sponsors and all that. Like I understand that.
But from Toronto's standpoint, to make such a, I mean, you really made a big deal out of nothing.
Look, I mean, there are two sides to this, though. You're absolutely right. Like in the sense of you don't see professional athletes talking this way on Twitter, right? Like
Not all of them. I guess there's probably always some
I
people can
mean,
point
but
out.
there's probably a much smaller percentage that use derogatory language regarding anything, honestly. I mean, I can't even think of scenarios where they do it, like for majority of players, right? But it's because they're go to PR classes is like one of the first things that they have to do in NFL orientation, NBA, like all of that. Like they have to understand some things are acceptable. You can keep your personal, but you're still representing us. And so if you want it to be that way, set those boundaries, right? Don't come at him after there's been hundreds of other tweets. I mean, just go through all the COD players, and I bet you could find a bunch of stuff if that's how you really wanted to do it. But set your boundaries early. Don't come at him this way. And again, it just makes ultimately you just made him look bad. Thankfully, the community, supports him and almost saw this as a joke because they released it on April Fools. I mean, that was the other part of it was you did this on April Fools. Everybody can't even tell. They're honestly guessing. Hey, are they kidding or are they not kidding? Like, did this really happen?
Yeah, April Fools. There was a few of those out there where you're like, wait a minute, this is real, but why did you choose April Fools? Did you next topic then? Any good April Fools? Did you see any good April Fools this year?
I honestly just didn't believe anything I read was the problem. Like I've kind of just gone into that space because now especially in esports, it's so crappy because everybody does something stupid now. Like it's a
It's either
day for
so
them
over the
for their
top
social
or
media teams
yeah.
to kind of do something and whatever. Give the intern an extra project that you're paying him $12 an hour for. Just something else to come up with. But no, I really okay, you know what? I take that back. There was one thing that I saw, but I believed for like a split second until I looked at, who posted it and noticed that it wasn't the real account. Was that OG Esports had signed ROPS, and found a way to get him from Mouse Sports. And for a brief second, I saw that and I was like, that would be badass. Like that would be really sick if that happened. But obviously, again, looked at the header and realized real quick.
Always that hesitation. The only one outside of esports, nothing really in gaming or esports got me, because I feel like the internet has killed April Fools. Like, it's so fast to figure out if something's fake or real.
The ROPS thing was the 31st on our side, but it was April 1st
okay, yeah.
for them. So that's a part of the reason why it caught me is it wasn't April Fool's.
Like, I remember way back in the day, which is funny because now they're in Smash, but I think it was Game Informer did an article about Sonic and Tails being added to Super Smash Brothers. And I mean, it was like everyone was freaking out because this is before Smash started adding everyone and their mother, right?
Yeah.
And this was, I mean, hell, this had to have been Brawl, maybe. I don't know what Smash it would have been on. And that was like crazy because that's before like the internet was around, but it wasn't like what it is now to where you could just quickly go on to social
You can't
media.
just Google something and all of a sudden have 10,000 searches.
Exactly.
Around
So that was like the last good April Fools that I remember in gaming. But the only April Fools this year that got me was Michael Strahan.
Oh, the teeth?
The teeth. Because he set it up to where it was like a couple days before he did the surgery to fix his gap, and then on April Fools revealed that he didn't do it. And that's good.
It looked good, though, when he did it.
Well, that's because it's like it wasn't just like a simple picture or a tweet. Like, it was like he had like full-on production value to the video. So I'll give him credit for that. But
put in the effort.
Back to Yikes of the Week. My Yikes of the Week, Anuj. Wild Rift. League of Legends Wild Rift. The game we
already? It's already in Yikes? It's like we just introed it 3 days ago.
We just did a too soon review on last episode. Already is in Yikes of the Week. Because Riot has announced that they are cracking down on Wild Rift matchmaking. Those found when trading will be permanently banned, and they've already started cracking down on this. We are not like a week into this game, and we already have people finding ways to match fix and win trade to boost their rank. This is why we can't have nice things.
Match fix is like such a strong word to use here, especially with what we have going on in Counter-Strike right now. That this is like on such a different scale of what we would call. This is just...
Look, I will admit, the match fixing part of the headline is definitely clickbait. Like, that's definitely a catchphrase of the day type of thing, where if you just throw match fixing in it, people are going to want it. But still, the fact that Riot has to come out and say, like, look, there's already been a high enough number of people that we've noticed win trading to boost their rank, so we have to do something about it already.
Like, a lot of people had the same idea, obviously, you know? No, I mean, again, good on them for cracking the whip so quickly on this. You know, you don't want to see the rank system go into the shitter right off of the bat, and I'm sure that's really important for them because they probably are trying to make this more than just a casual game long term. You know, you can play mobile games competitively. So I think the rank system is not just there for shits and giggles, right? Like they genuinely want it to mean something. And so I like that they're doing it. It's crappy that there are people out there that this is the first thing they think of the day a game launches, is how can we just boost our ranks, and this is what we should do. But not surprising, you know. Again, like nothing surprises me with gamers anymore when it comes to finding a way to cheat, take advantage, whatever.
Well,
like,
it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's League of Legends on the computer, on mobile, if it's Pokemon Go, if it's
Sim City. It doesn't matter. People are finding a way to do something that you shouldn't be doing to break the game in a way that's beneficial to them.
You're gonna get tryhards and salty and care about their rank. So it's those same people that are on the online scoreboard with a high score where it's just like an impossible number to actually get, like on Pac-Man, and you're like, what the hell? And you're like, why would you even cheat just to have your name there when it's like clear that you cheated? So thoughts and prayers for Wild Rift. Hopefully this is nipped in the bud and we don't really have to worry about it for too much longer going forward. Now, to reintroduce an old segment into the show, one that we used to do a little more often, but as we've gotten older and wiser and just in generally more tired, we haven't really had a reason to do it, and that is the Salt Mine. Originally done for when we just feel like being salty and we wanted to rage on the show. Anuj, I want to also use this as an opportunity to highlight moments in the community where people are salty, members of the community, talking heads, figures that people look up to in the community have showed saltiness. We had that incident just the other day on Twitter. So let me give you the layout. Well, I just want to highlight these individuals that had a little bit of extra salt added to
I
their
like
day.
this because we need the help when it comes to salt mine, right? We just don't have that energy
I don't.
anymore to like
The kids
really
look
care enough to get onto somebody that much, right? Like at this point, everyone's kind
just,
of an idiot in some way. So
it's true. Like what they say is like when you have kids, at least for me, and I think for you as well, it's not that I still love esports and gaming and normal things in life. I just don't get fired up about the little stuff. I don't sweat the small stuff.
yeah, because you're responsible for another life now that
Yeah,
you
it's
kind of
just
realize there's
like
like more to life in that sense,
I
right? And
like the
that's
drama. I like the matches. I like the storytelling within those matches. But
but I like other people doing it,
oh, of
you know?
course, of course. Look, I
It's fun
love
for
the
me to
entertainment.
watch and enjoy and see the drama, read the
But
drama,
like
watch the games.
if someone in this scenario tried starting shit with me on Twitter to argue, I'd be like, dude, you're getting maybe one or two replies from me, and then after that, my kid's probably throwing up on me, or the other one's trying to rip the TV off the wall, or
Yeah.
like I don't.
You might get one good response from me, but that's all I have in me. I can't do this back and forth
I
anymore.
just I have very little reserved energy, so I can't. I can't. Anyway, so here on Twitter, though, two people who definitely don't have kids and definitely have the time and energy to argue on Twitter. Richard Lewis, go figure. Prominent figurehead, especially in the CS community, now a writer for Dexerto. He wrote an article saying that latest for Dexerto leaked audio recordings feature ESEA players conspiring to fix matches. So quite a huge article, right? Obviously showing that it's going down even into the lower ranks of Counter-Strike for match fixing, which is where we all thought it was kind of rampant anyways. And then you have Jake Lucky. Jake Lucky is from, what is it, Talk Esports or Esports Talk on YouTube. Very popular YouTube channel where he delivers the news. I don't want to say TMZ of esports because it's a little bit more sophisticated than what I would call TMZ, but
He's a headline reader for the most part
what
and
I
makes
would call,
videos off of those like headlines.
yes, a news regurgitator. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't really, and this is just my opinion on him. I think he seems like a swell guy. But for me, holds no value. For me, like, I see the news on Twitter. I'll read an article on Twitter. So by the time I see his link to the video, it's like, well, I know you're not going to offer really any personal opinion. I know you don't do really any investigating on your own. You literally just read the headline and maybe the first paragraph, and then you get a 5-minute video out there, and that's that.
And it works. It's great.
Look, and I like for some people that's how they
if you're
consume
not
it.
following esports maybe as closely as like some people are, then it's like a Keemstar version for esports, right? You go and you get a bunch of these drama
Yeah.
headlines, and that's what it is. That's what the show is built
Yeah.
around, I think.
For us, we like the long form talk. We give our opinions on the show. It's much different than what he's doing. He spits out videos. Sometimes it's clickbaity, sometimes it's not. I don't know how much of that is his fault, how much of that is his thumbnail artist's fault. Who knows, right, on how that goes. But in general, that's his gist, right? He kind of reads off the headlines on his videos and offers very little depth involved. So anyways, he's also notorious for just being everywhere on Twitter, from what I've seen. So Richard Lewis posts this article that he breaks saying that there's match fixing going on in ESEA Premier, which is like a lower farming system for Counter-Strike, if you didn't know. Jake Lucky responds, nuts. Richard Lewis responds, just cranks it up. He goes, fuck you, make a video about reading my work. It's like, whoa, okay.
Like went 0 to 100 on him. Like just turned, and you could tell that it caught Jake off guard, right? Like just by his response, he didn't want to clap back,
No.
right? Because
And he's not that guy. Like, he isn't going to be the
No.
guy.
No, you're right. He doesn't see him like that person at all, and so he wasn't going to clap back. But you could tell probably did catch him off guard. I understand where Richard Lewis is upset
Well, so here
in the
I have
sense
more
of
of the tweets here if you
go.
want. Yeah, so I'll read
Yeah,
these
yeah.
because I agree. Jake Lucky, he did not clap back. He's not that type of guy. He's the kind, and this also bugs me with him, but again, everyone's different. Is like he'll apologize for if he says something and then someone gets upset about his video. So like if he talks about, I don't know, insert Hex, we'll say Hex. If he says something about Hex and then Hex gets upset about it, he'll be like, hey man, sorry, I'm just reporting the news. I'm just doing my job. It's like, just don't apologize. Just own it, right? It is what it is. Anyways, so Richard Lewis says, fuck you, why don't you just make a video about my work? Jake Lucky goes, oh, okay, have a good day. Richard Lewis responds, I'll have a better one when your publication makes a public apology for its shocking lapse in editorial standards. Okay. Sadakis then jumps in. Guy has been a presumptuous TMZ attention-seeking YouTuber with zero integrity or understanding of journalism for years. We are shocked he is still doing it. I'm not. Richard Lewis responds, gotta love the reply to every influencer and tweet chain for happening to grow followers shtick. Like, people can't see through it. The desperation would be embarrassing for anyone with a sense of shame. I mean, talk about cutthroat.
Yeah, like they really went at him hard, and honestly, like a little too much in my opinion. Like, look, what he's doing is working, first of all.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start there. His channel, since COVID started, has multiplied 100 times, like 100 times over. And so their plan and the way that they're approaching their business is working, right? Because I don't think he owns Esports Talk. I think he's working for somebody who runs esports talk, right? So I think
Yeah,
that's
I
how
have no
that
idea.
works. And so it's not like it's his show, it's somebody else's show, and him, and there's a production guy there that helps him with a lot of this stuff. But it's not his. And so they have a game plan. It's working really well. On the other side, what Richard Lewis is saying is pretty correct, right? Like, in the sense of they regurgitate news and they're not crediting an all their sources, in the sense of, when I say sources, they're not inside sources. It's just where they're getting the information from. And so they do it sometimes with Dexerto. I've noticed that. I think he has a good relationship there. But he doesn't do that for most of his content. Like, most of his content is he reads something, he comes on, he says what he's just read, reacts to it, moves on. 5 minutes later, there could be another video type thing. So they Richard Lewis has a point. I just think they went in like really aggressive with how they approached it. And that's Richard Lewis for you, unfortunately. That's the part of him. We love the journalistic side and what he brings to the table, but he's very raw on Twitter, and whether
I,
I like it or not doesn't matter to
like, to
him.
me,
It's
this is
just
the epitome of salt, though. Like, this is what the salt mine to me is all about. Where it's like how him and Sadakis are dogpiling him for these journalistic integrities. Like, guys, he's a YouTuber. Like, he's not writing for the Washington Post over here. I don't think he, A, cares about journalistic integrity, B, ever thought he had to care about the journalistic integrity, and C, ever really learned it to begin with, because he probably just started talking about esports and YouTube, and I doubt he has any I don't think he's going for a Pulitzer anytime soon.
and I mean, we're guilty of it too,
But
right?
that's
Like,
what,
I mean, in the
like, this
sense
is
of
what
like,
and I've seen it from both sides. So I, being in media, I've had things that I've worked on or broke, talked about from other people and not given me credit for it.
it's happened with us on this show.
Yeah. We see it all the time where we'll talk about something, have a guest on who will say something, and then we'll see somebody else say, oh, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, gee, I wonder where you heard that from, right? And it happens. But that's also just like this day and age of news, too. Like, I don't know if Richard Lewis expects people to talk about his articles or talk about things that he breaks. I mean, I guess like, does he just not expect people to talk about it at all?
No,
Or does
I
he?
think he expects them to credit him when it's talked about, which is unrealistic to think that every publication is going to do that. And you're right, Esports Talk is not a journalistic publication. Like they again, they are TMZ-ish in
Yeah,
that
they're. I mean,
sense,
they're
right? Like
they're a
that's like
clickbait YouTube
yeah,
channel.
like they get information and they just spit it back out, and people go there as a one-stop shop for a lot of variety of content, right? Um, I think it gives Richard Lewis exposure when he talks about it, whether or not he, should he credit them? That's another topic. But even if he does talk about it, people are then more likely to go Google it, and guess what's going to pop up? Richard Lewis's his article is probably going to be one of the first things referenced, and so maybe it gives him more exposure that he wouldn't have otherwise. But look, they were he caught him at a bad time with that reply.
That's, that's
Like it was really just whatever was
yeah.
going on in Richard Lewis's life in that moment was not a happy thing. Whether he forgot to eat lunch, blood pressure was a
It
little
definitely
high.
seems like low
Like,
sugar.
yeah, like it could be so many things with that guy that you just never know. And so, whatever it was, he caught him at a bad time. And I think they went in hard on him. They're not 100% wrong, but
I would
I
say
think
like
the approach was not the way we would have done it, right? Like, I mean, it's just not.
yeah. And that's the beauty of it, right? Is like although their approach was raw, they're definitely like they're not wrong. Jake Lucky does talk about topics that just are headline TMZ clickbait. He doesn't really bring a whole lot to the table when it comes to journalism, or even like opinionated editorials, right?
Well,
Like he
because he doesn't have inside sources,
no, and he
right? Like
plays
that's one thing.
very down the middle. Like all of his things, like it could talk about, like he'll never really choose a side one way or another. But that's just again, that's not his thing. You and I, we do because we are long form talk, a very opinionated show. So we're gonna give
Like
opinions.
it can't be like roses and everything for sunshine and roses for everyone. Like
Yeah.
there's got to be some negative in there, and so but you're right. It's just very different approaches to how we do shows. We're not the YouTube personalities either. That's not us. Like
No.
you're not going to catch me screaming on a camera, getting excited. Like I just want to talk about it because I enjoy talking about it, and that's what we do.
And if we really want to get on board with like journalistic integrity and everything, Richard Lewis should probably also look for the website he works for. So, because Dexerto hasn't had a squeaky clean past either with,
No, I mean, just
accusations.
recently they made like an apology for not crediting somebody in their work. I think it was like a Counter Strike frag video that was like really popular, and they didn't credit the person or something like that. But yeah, I mean, 100%. Like I said, they caught him at a bad time. He decided to blast off on the kid. Sucks for him because that's got to be a shitty feeling just to see that, especially if Richard Lewis is somebody whose work you enjoy, and you're like, oh shit, like didn't
Yeah.
see that coming. Chances are Jake's blocked, so he won't see the next article coming out anyway.
Yeah, and like Joey says in chat, Lucky provides quick info on topics for people who can't sit through an hour and a half long podcast or long reads. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's not for me because I like the longer stuff, right? I'm not saying he's just not my thing, but I also understand the appeal. Obviously, look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. So that's what I said. There is truth to what Richard Lewis is saying. There is truth. He definitely just steals. I mean, and again, stealing is such a harsh word because it's like, dude, look, Anuj and I make fun of this all the time on Twitter or even on the show. And we're like, so we heard per sources that there was match fixing going on in ESEA Premier. Oh, well, who are your sources? Don't worry about it. We have our sources. And our sources is Twitter. Like, that's the joke, right? You can say per sources and no one can question. Like, people might question you, but they have no grounds to say you don't have sources.
Because nobody has to reveal a source.
No one
right?
has.
So,
There is absolutely no integrity or anything there when you say
it's the easy
sources.
way to throw something out without you being too liable for what it is, right?
Yeah, 100%.
It's wrong. The source was just wrong. Like, it wasn't me. I didn't say it. Like,
Yeah, I thought he was a
they told me it
reliable
was me.
source. Guess on to my next source. Like, it's just I don't, to me it seemed uncalled for saltiness by Richard Lewis. But then again, that's also his brand, right? It wouldn't be Richard Lewis if it wasn't uncalled for saltiness. So there it is. There's a dive into the salt mine. If you ever see something on social media or elsewhere that you say, they're being a bit salty, you let us know and we'll highlight it on the next salt mine, whenever that may be. Other than that, Anuj, we have stage 2 already wrapped up for the Call of Duty League, believe it or not, meaning next week we have the stage 2 major. That is, and I say next week as in it is starting on the 7th. So that is Wednesday.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Is that right?
That is starting
April 7th. Yes. Losers bracket starts on the 7th. So it's one of those kind of long weekend things, right? Losers start on Wednesday. Champs are grand finals are on Sunday. So we have a good week, half a week of Call of Duty. And you know what? This is not like stage 1. We have had some shocks. We have had some surprises. Personally, I'm here and I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, like even this past weekend, this was full of them, like full of upset specials. I think obviously Gorillas comes to everybody's mind first and foremost. Beating FaZe, who would have ever, like, I mean, in a million years, Tim, we would have never called that upset happening. Like, I just am shocked because FaZe has been perfect. I mean, they were 11-0 or whatever it was. They were perfect up until this point, and then Gorillas come in and 3-2 them today or this weekend. I think what's important to note is last year's homestand luck is carrying over. And so I know you said there was no point last week to why the hell are they still doing homestands if they knew there were not going to be any homestands this year. It's so we don't lose this, Tim. It gives them some mental edge that's needed to pull out victories out of their ass that
It
should never happen.
it really is incredible because you pointed this out last year to where, like, if you're ever on the fence about a team and like betting or putting money down, always bet the homestand team, because it just seems like, I'm not saying like they always perform, like they're not always going to make it to the finals, but they do strangely perform better regardless of like it being online. It doesn't matter that there's no home fans in the stands. It doesn't matter that you don't have any home field advantage in esports. You're right.
Toronto was one of the worst teams last, middle of the pack, bottom half teams last year. Came out and won there. I mean, we saw it a number of times last year. It was crazy.
And now you have LA Gorillas, where they went, let's see here, for the overview. Yeah, this is the overview. They went 2-3 for this stage, beating FaZe and LA Thieves. Like, honestly,
shut out 3-0.
Right, 3-0. Now, LA Thieves is no spring chicken, right? They're not LA Thieves that we thought early on in stage 1. They finished 1-4.
I was wrong.
They did worse than Gorillas. They need to check their internet connection or something. Maybe one is playing at.
I think they just need to GA something else.
Like, are they playing at 30 hertz again?
To the GA list or something.
I mean, I know Temp is back in because I believe Kenny is out with some mysterious emergency. So hopefully,
I hope he's okay.
Yeah, obviously, whether that be physical, mental, family issues, whatever, we obviously hope for the best there. But still, it's not like Temp is like he's not coming in cold. You literally just benched him. So like he's coming in pretty feeling good, right? Like this isn't that far off from the team that you started with.
So you think it's weird for him to be playing with his replacement?
Yeah. It's like yeah, that is really weird.
That's got to be pretty awkward. I know you said it's like he's coming in fresh. He's coming in fresh to a team where his replacement's sitting in his chair. He's literally like probably in a different spot when they're all at LAN here at their own place. So
yeah, no, that's extremely weird.
Yeah, LA Thieves though is just not the team that I mean they're a fake right now, right? They're proving that every single week at this point. We're seeing a worse and worse version of themselves. And so maybe when Kenny comes back and we get a chance to see this team with the lineup that they want it to be now, um, we'll have an idea of where they're at. But Gorillas, man, like
Where's Courage at with Thieves right now? Is he still bringing up hoodie sales?
If maybe sub him in,
I
get him
wish
in as a hype man, just standing behind them yelling.
I wish after every LA Thieves loss, Courage just retweets like their next hoodie sale chart. Just and don't even reference the loss. Just post their hoodie sales. Since he was so adamant about it in stage 1 about, well, we sell more hoodies. Okay. All right. Listen here, content creator Courage. You worry about the content creations and let the esports worry about themselves. I'm going to go on a little salt mine myself.
Go for it.
Okay? I'm going to dive into the salt mine. I am harshly judging 100 Thieves right now.
Why is that?
As an org. Not LA Thieves, 100 Thieves, as an org. Because they have created a separate Twitter now for their esports. So they have like 100 Thieves esports Twitter news.
Oh,
and this is what bothers me about this. It's because they are officially throwing in the towel now to even like, I don't think 100 Thieves is now an esports org. They are a content creation org that just has esports on the side. And I'm judging them for that now. As an esports truth, right? Like as a gatekeeper of esports, Anuj, I want my esports org being esports org first and content creation second.
That is weird.
And the fact
I mean, I get it. Maybe they want to post more. I just went to it. I didn't even know they did that. I don't like that either. Just
now they
so
want,
you know.
so that means they're going to be posting more non-esports stuff on their normal account. And it's like, I don't care about your content creation team doing some stupid ass, like, oh, look, we colored our Easter eggs and now we're going to shove them up our butt. Like this video. Like, I don't care. I don't want to follow these and like you have to follow them though, because like trickled in with all the influencer BS, they'll throw in esports. You're like, God damn it. I have to follow this. It's the same like Deserto, right?
I mean, I guess they can now flood their esports
and that's
Twitter
but like
with
Deserto
esports content, which they couldn't probably do on their main. Deserto has like 100 of them. They have one for every game. The moment it comes out, it's all the intel, Charlie Intel, and all that.
But like the thing with Deserto is, I wish they had a Deserto esports, or maybe they do, and I don't know, because like I follow them for their occasional esports news. But like you go on their Twitter,
they just have one for every specific game.
But it's like Deserto. It's like they tweet more articles about XQC than they do about esports, and it's like maybe I'm in the minority. Maybe I'm being a boomer right now.
But they're a news outlet first, esports second now. They care more about influencers now than they do about esports.
I'm just saying, I wish. See, they don't have any. They really should just have a Deserto. Out of all the Twitter handles Deserto has, why is esports not one of them?
They haven't been able to snag that from whoever owns it.
I don't know if anyone owns it. I'm going to make that account right now. Someone make the account at Deserto Esports and I mean,
you're sitting on a gold mine.
Yeah, like
they'll at least give you $50 for it.
What the hell? So that's just my little rant. Side salt mine here. I don't like orgs creating esports Twitter handles for themselves when they were an esports org. Like 100 Thieves, your esports Twitter should just be your normal Twitter because that's what it was. But you are admitting defeat. So that's my...
No, I get that. I mean, now you got me looking at it over here, and I'm like, oh, this is like two separate. Now the other one's going to be like showing clothes and some stuff about content creators and the business side, probably a little bit more professional for when they send out like that as part of their package or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. For 100 Thieves, they just need to find a way to start winning, right? And that solves these problems. When they're losing, it's easy to talk shit about all this other stuff, and when they're winning, then it's kind of the total package, right? So I like the org. I like what they've done. I love that they got involved in Call of Duty. Like they didn't have to do that, right? They were doing really well. That was a huge investment to have to make. So I'm really happy that they're in the league, also creating different rivalries and whether they're a team to root for or not. That's to each their own. But I like having them involved very much so in like Call of Duty, especially. It feels right, right? Like
Yeah, I know. If I let me take off my salt mine hat. I'm gonna set it
I'm
next to me.
talking to you from up above. So I'm like looking down at you in the mine. I'm trying to just tell you, like, okay, I get some of the hate, but overall, they're a great brand to have
And
involved in
I
esports.
am down deep into the mines, looking up at you, saying, "I get it, but," and
I
then I'm
can't
just
hear
gonna
you.
keep digging. I'm gonna keep digging because that's who I am. That's
I'm
who
like talking and you're still hitting to make it so you purposely can't hear me.
right, right. I'll stop to say what, and then as you start talking, I'll start mining again, just getting deeper and deeper into the salt. I
Let's talk about some of these teams here because we did have so the way again is broken up into two groups heading
Yep.
into the major. Minnesota Rocker taking the top from Group B. Atlanta FaZe still coming in number one, but with a close number two, tied at 4-1 with Subliners. I think they had the head to head is why uh, FaZe is coming out on top there. But look, Minnesota seems to be hitting their stride a little bit, right? Like they're looking good. Um, I've been as a whole just more and more impressed with them. We thought they would be better early and they kind of slumped a little bit to begin, but they're really finding their stride and it looks like a team that them along with New York and really obviously FaZe have been some of the more consistent teams as of late. Notice how I don't mention Dallas in that mix. I don't mention Chicago in that mix. Like Dallas also looks really good, but then they drop some of these games and I'm like, how how is this happening? Like we're looking a little bit, you know, we're not looking like a dominant team like they were last year.
still good, but
Still very
yes,
good,
they've
but they're
lost.
not looking dominant. Like they don't look like they're a step ahead of most of the
Uh,
league.
to me, they kind of lost the swagger a little bit. Dallas, that is. I feel like Dallas has lost a little bit of the swagger. I mean, stage 2 is almost done, so it's kind of difficult to constantly bring up defending the throne, right? I feel like at this point you need to ditch the moniker of like defend the throne in the sense of like, hey, we're defending champs and all that. You can do that early on in the season, but eventually you got to me, turn the page, move on. Like we are in a new season. We are a different team. This is a different league. Hell, I mean, it's not even the same 5-on-5. It's a 4-on-4 again. So let's start looking ahead. They're still doing good, but like today they lost to Optic to be the tiebreaker. Had they won, they would have been number 1 seed. Or no,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, they didn't lose to Optic. They lost to
they did lose. They lost 3-2 to Optic, I
yeah.
think.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. So I'm getting see because Twitter was very confusing. So they lost to Optic, which made them 3rd seed. Had they won, they would have been number 1 with Minnesota number 2 and Optic number 3. So it's
Yeah.
like that's one game difference from being a number 1 seed to a 3rd seed. But again, I agree with you. I think Minnesota has looked really really good. Optic and Dallas to me are though kind of similar, where just a little shaky. I think I'm a little more confident in Dallas. That might be a little bit of a homer in me. Like I'll be honest with you, that might be a little bit homerism. That I like Dallas a little more than Optic. But to me, Optic still just looks so mentally weak.
I don't trust Optic right now. Like they haven't. Here's my issue with Optic right now. Envoy is not the same Envoy as last year. And last year it took heroics from him to get them to where they were. And he doesn't look the same in 4-on-4. Dashi to me has also been relatively like a disappointment for them. So now we're once again relying on Scump and Formal. And at their age, I look at them at more like a Clayster and Krim, where they need these young guns to kind of be the driving force behind the team, and them being more like stable presence on the team. But now we're relying on them to not only be the stable presence and the leaders on the team, but they also need to be the best players consistently, and that's really tough. A team like Rocker, um, on the other hand, they add Standy in there, and this guy is exactly the energy they needed to go along with Attach, and like just seeing how they're playing off of each other has been incredible. Dallas is like a little tricky because they have that one veteran presence. I think the effects of losing Clay are showing a little bit more as the season goes on. Um, they looked so good early on, and part of that was coming in with that bravado and confidence of we're the defending champs. Like you said, the defend the throne thing early on made a lot of sense. It was a fun way to start the season. They played with a lot of confidence. Now we've seen a couple of slip ups here where they're just not. They might look really good in 3-0 like they did at the beginning of the weekend, right? They 3-0'd, I think it was Seattle to start off the games, and then they can't follow that up with a similar performance, right? Losing to Chicago in the next game. Like that's a game that you probably should win, right? Like you're the better team. You've proven to be the better team. Um, and you let it fall. And so now you put yourself in a position where you have to play one extra match. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but it's just another opportunity to lose. That's all it is. And I think they're playing New York, if I'm not mistaken, right, in their first round game. Um,
I have it up here. New York is playing Dallas round one.
Like that is a really tough first round matchup. When you look at the flip side, right? Look at what Chicago walked out with in this scenario. Chicago's playing Toronto round one in winners round one, where Dallas is playing New York. So that loss is more than just like a ripple effect for that particular stage. Like now, if you get knocked out by New York, where does that confidence level go from here? Right? Like you're starting to now dip a little bit more. Can you pull yourself back out? I think Chicago, this is a chance for them to rise up a little bit here. You beat New York, that gives you your matchup against FaZe. And look, I'm not saying you're a better team than FaZe by any means, but Chicago Optic carries enough weight and energy where there's that added pressure for teams to like maybe struggle against them, right? And so they're going to have a tough road going into the next round, Chicago, but Dallas has like a tough spot to start going against New York in round one. And so it's some big matchups, like some big early matchups um, waiting there. I think on the flip side of losers bracket, what are you most interested in there? Like, which one of these teams, and we'll see if we agree here, but is there a storyline you're following so much on losers that gets you excited?
Yeah, I'm all about positive vibes right now, Anuj. I like the positivity. I like underdog stories. I like people when they rise up. And that's why I am all in on LA Gladiators right now, or Gladiators,
Gorillas.
Gorillas. Wrong game. LA Gorillas. I'm all in on LA Gorillas right now. I want to see them succeed. I want them to look. It might be a small wave. It might be a teeny wave that breaks before it even makes to shore. Okay, it might be that little wave that you're standing in the ocean and you kind of feel it move you a little bit, and you're like, oh, well, that was interesting, right? It might be that type of wave that they're riding, but I want them to ride it. I want them to take the high. They've beaten LA Thieves twice now, right? Isn't this
Yeah.
like twice? So they're the king of LA. Wear that moniker. You beat the number one team in the league. Use that for momentum and take it in. Will you make it to losers round 3? Maybe not. But enjoy it. You're playing with house money right now. So I want to see them continue on. I've given up on LA Thieves. That storyline's dead to me. I'm all
Yeah, like
for Gorillas.
I'm right there with you. If you're not rooting for Gorillas, something's not right. Like it just feels like the easy story to go for because they were god awful last year. This year at least they added some pieces that like make me a little bit more excited to see them. Like Apathy's always been one of my favorite players in Call of Duty, and so he's now joined that roster. So I don't want to see them just fail out. As much fun as it was to kind of make fun of that squad last year, this year it's been a little bit tougher to do that with some of the names. But yeah, I'm 100% rooting for them and losers as well to make a little bit of a run, right? Make it interesting, make it fun, keep the homestand luck alive. It's not impossible to see them in losers round 3. I think that's probably, you know, they might even have a chance there, depending on if they do beat Florida and then beat Seattle. You know, they might be playing a team like Toronto, which again is another winnable matchup for them. So I think that the cap for them is losers round 4 is the farthest they could possibly go. Um, but yeah, rooting for them. You know, I don't have a ton of faith right now in the Florida roster, even though it's looked a little bit better. Paris is a tough sell for anybody at the moment. And same thing with 100 Thieves. I mean, right now, the way they're playing, they so much just remind me of last year's team um, that it almost feels like a spitting image in the sense, at least they started hot a little bit this year. But right now, the way they're playing, like I look at them like I'm looking at last year's squad.
Yeah. It's except for one huge detail compared to last year's squad is they don't have excuses this time, right? Last year's excuse was, guys, we're West Coast. What do you want us to do? Do you see the connection? Do you see the servers we're playing on? How could we possibly win with this apart from the playoffs? But ignore that. How could we possibly win on the West Coast in regular season? And now you take that away because they're here in Dallas. And it's like, well, I guess you guys just aren't that good. I guess that's what we've come to learn.
Like, that's what it is, you know?
Maybe
Yeah.
30% connection, 70% not that good. So we'll see. Like I said, the losers side of the brackets start on Wednesday with the winners first round being on Thursday. So obviously we'll keep up with that more though as the week goes on and touch with it on
I need
Sunday.
to know now before it starts, before it kicks off. At least give me who's let's do finals predictions now.
Final predictions. All right, let me
Yeah.
pull.
Give me a finals. Like, what's your finals matchup? Or even what do you want to see?
I
You
mean,
don't have to be predicting it. Like, what do you want to see happen in the finals here?
I'll tell you what I don't want to see in the finals, and that's just Atlanta. And that's mainly just because I'm tired of it, right? I would love. I'm trying to even see this, how I'd want this to work out. I would love to see New York in the finals, and I think it's possible, especially with the side of the bracket they're on. You know, maybe if they run into issues with Atlanta, if they get that far, but I would love to see New York and maybe Minnesota. New York, Minnesota. I mean, that could be a rematch in the finals if they make it there. I would love to see that. Again, this is just me mentally telling myself, don't pick Atlanta. But let's be real.
I'm hoping actually for an Atlanta Minnesota finals, like the 1 and 2
See,
seed.
and I
I'll
don't
tell
hate
you
that
why.
either.
Like I would like to see somebody knock out Atlanta, you know, as they advance. Right now, Atlanta could lose in the second round or in their first round matchup, which would be second round winners. But I don't really realistically see them losing to Chicago or Toronto. Like either of those teams,
No.
I don't think put any fear into Atlanta whatsoever. I think Dallas will always be on Atlanta's mind to a certain extent, right? Even if they believe they're the better team, you'll never forget what happened in that finals last year, right? So even if you're the better team, in the back of your mind, because I think even last year, Atlanta was the better team. I mean, as a whole throughout the year, Dallas won the most important game of the year, giving them the championship. But Atlanta was the better team. Like they beat Dallas so many times, like spanked them several times. I don't see that being any different this year. So I want to see a team take it to Minnesota or Atlanta again. And so if that's a team like Minnesota, I think that'd be really exciting to see what Minnesota can do on that stage. Obviously, I would love to see a Dallas or New York get that opportunity, but Minnesota would be a little bit of a breath of fresh air. So, with the way they're playing, the way Atlanta's been playing up until just their most recent loss, like looks like we'd be probably getting two of the best teams going head to head.
Yeah, so either way, it should be a juicy finals, especially with the way some of the teams have stepped up during like the regular stage matchups. So hopefully we don't just see a repeat of FaZe Dallas, though. Again, for any of our Dallas fans out there listening, don't get me wrong, I love Dallas. If it is FaZe Dallas, give me Dallas winning. Ideally, we get Dallas and another team in there, but just from a fan standpoint, I like having a little mix up in the league, and that's what we've gotten so far. So I dig it. All right, let's get into e-news. But before we do that, e-news is brought to you by Philly Esports. PhillyEsports.net is where you need to go to start your professional gaming career, or if you're like a Nuge and I and just want to live in the glory days once more. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War 3-on-3 Search and Destroy tournament is this month's event, April 17th. So that's in 2 weeks, with a $500 prize pool sponsored by U.S. Army and Monster. Go to PhillyEsports.net. You can register your team there. One thing I like about Philly Esports, though, is like they're not just your normal TO, right? They're more about the community vibes, more about making a difference. They do the player interviews. When it's live in person, they have photographers there and everything like that to make it, a little less than just your normal neighborhood tournament. So go ahead and check them out. They're good dudes. PhillyEsports.net. All right. E-news. Let me pull it up here. In CSGO, this is kind of a mix here. Riot has launched their own independent investigations into CSGO match fixing allegations. So now you have Riot investigating it. I assume Valve and people on CS side is still investigating it with ESIC, and now the FBI. So kind of have the trifecta here. Not looking great. And if you want to just throw in social media, it's the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, you're like at this point you're sweating pretty hard. I mean, your career, if you're gaming in either one of these games at the moment, Valorant or CS:GO, it's about to come to an abrupt halt. Probably in the next few days.
What I guess is it just a unanimous understanding that like the iBuyPower boys don't have to worry about it? Like they're not looking at them, right? Like no one's saying like, well, what about them? They match fixed once before.
No, I don't. I highly doubt that. Like that was so many years ago, and that was for like skins. This is probably dealing with some criminal organizations, would be my guess. Like I think there's more people involved outside of esports that are kind of being able to push these buttons, and not just the kids only making. I don't know if they are necessarily the ones that came up with the idea. Like they could have easily been approached by a criminal organization on the outside trying to make money on this too. And so who knows? Like but I do not think they're looking at IVP at all. Like I think that stuff's done with, over. They were penalized. We've all moved on. I doubt it has anything to do with
They've
this.
served their time.
Yeah, they've served
You
their
can't
time.
be tried for the same crime.
Double
right?
jeopardy.
Isn't double jeopardy, right? So I guess that's what the whole outlook is. And I'm not saying iBuyPower should be held accountable like these kids. We've beaten that horse to death multiple times. So I was just curious, like if Riot all of a sudden is going to open up the book and be like, what? Brax?
You were involved. We didn't know that.
It too, Bruce?
We didn't know that in the T1 intro video that they made for you regarding that whole situation.
Right? What? Half these guys in our league are match fixers? Other thing here, VP, Virtus Pro, becomes the first team to ever come back from being down 15-3 on the CT side of Dust 2. So when terrorists lead 15-3, they are the first team to ever come back on that scoreline on Dust 2. For numbers here, 8 years worth of Counter-Strike, 9,899 Dust 2 matches. The scoreline has appeared 253 times. And Virtus Pro is the first team to ever come back when they defeated Ints earlier in the week.
Yeah, I mean, that's like absolutely insane. They were down 15, like you said, 15-3. They were playing on the CT side, and they had to roll out, and they did, and it was absolutely crazy. They ended up winning it in overtime. What makes this worse for Ents is that this was the elimination game, right? We're talking ESL Pro League playoffs here. This map was the decider map. It's not like they even had another chance to rebound from this and gather yourselves. Like, no, this was it. You were going home, and that's the taste that's going to be left in your mouth until the next event. And so look, I'm happy VP won. Ultimately, it didn't mean a whole lot because Complexity knocked them out in the next round. So VP is no longer. And I guess we'll go into a couple of quick updates here. Tim and I will do more of a breakdown as we get into the grand finals and maybe do a little bit of a recap and thoughts. But just a quick couple updates. Furia eliminated G2. That was kind of the big one there. G2 eliminating Liquid, and that also went down to the wire on the third map. Liquid, unfortunately, like blew a really good chance to win that. That was a very good game. Sucks that G2 then gets eliminated next round. You know, that is what it is. Navi getting dumpstered early by Complexity 2-0. So Complexity not only knocks out Navi, but they've also knocked out VP. They will have a chance to potentially knock out Gambit and take out all of CIS in one tournament. So that would be big for them. But yeah, right now it's kind of weird. Did you see how they did this little play-in thing? Like it's really unique because they wanted to give an advantage to the winners of each group, but not completely eliminate them from having to, like, you know, the complaint we have in Call of Duty is the teams that are in the winners bracket play significantly fewer games. This is adding an extra game onto their plate to determine which round they start off in, basically.
Yeah, I don't hate the play-in games. So you'll have, like, for example, Astralis Gambit. So the winner of that moves on to the semis. The loser has to play quarterfinals. Still a little odd. I mean, so if you win out, that's 3 matches you're playing. Still, you know, but I mean, I guess I like the play-in. It is what it is.
I like it. I don't like calling it the play-in because that makes me think too much of March Madness, where it's like the weaker teams are having to play.
That's what I was confused
to enter
with.
The tournament. The title of play-in doesn't sound good to me, but the idea behind what they're doing, yeah, I'm kind of okay with. You know, it'd be a little confusing if you're looking at the bracket, but
that's what I like when we talked about ESL Pro League last time. That's what got me tripped up, because I was like, wait a minute, a play-in? Like, the play-in is like normally to get into the playoffs, not a play-in to make semifinals.
Like determine seeding, right? Yeah. So, you got some interesting teams left. I don't think right now. I think the teams that were knocked out early didn't see necessarily all of them getting swept out the way they did. You know, Navi is one that we'll talk about. G2 once again falling short to making it to quarters, like getting eliminated early, and then obviously disappointing for VP. But on the flip side, you know, huge for Complexity. You know, they've been trying to find just kind of a way to break through since OBO's departure. You know, you add JKS and it hasn't been as good as you had hoped. This has been a pretty good run. So now they'll have a chance to either take on NIP or Heroic. I think both very winnable games to throw them into the semis. So it'll be fun to follow the Complexity squad and see what they got in them.
Yeah, should be a good second half of the bracket either way you look at it. And in Valorant news, Space Station Gaming drops their roster, and according to them, will still, speaking of a statement tweet, will still support Valorant in the future. So that I feel like that's it's not me, it's not you, it's me type of breakup. Yeah. So we'll see what that actually means. But for right now, Space Station Gaming is out on Valorant. Which again, I think it speaks more to just esports in general than Valorant, but that's just my opinion. Don't ask Thorin. Alex was reportedly offered a spot from G2 on their Valorant roster, but denied it for now. He still wants to test the waters with Counter-Strike and see what he can get there. And look, no judgment on that one, right? Obviously,
but if you could make judgment on it, Tim, and you were just stating your opinion in this situation,
I would say you're an idiot. You have a chance to sign up with a top 3, arguably best EU team out there who's looking to get better, who struggled as of late.
Number 1 EU team. Even if they struggled as of late, they were the most dominant team over the last 7 months, 8 months for sure. Like, not even close.
You were on a, let's admit, out of top 100 CS team. I don't care where Cloud9 was on HLTV. It's just because they didn't stick around long enough to lose to get knocked out of the top 100. But that was an out of top 100 CS team. And then so you were going to go with a top 3 EU Valorant team. Look, again, no judgment. You want to finish the fight. you know, you want to be in there with CS and that's your first lover. I get it. But at the same time, not a bad trade-off.
I 100% respect his decision. Okay, so this is not a knock on Alex. I just think it was like a terrible mistake ultimately. Like I do think that will be a regrettable decision long term. My guess, again, like 100%, like just my gut instinct on this, because I think a chance to join a top tier Valorant team, join an organization like G2, it's freaking G2.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
not even like
one of
you're
the
joining
best-
one of these offshoot EU orgs.
Yeah, like regardless of what you think of G2 as a fan, like clearly one of the top 2 or 3 esports organizations there are out there. You know, I mean, not even I don't even think it's close, honestly. Like they're just good in almost all aspects, whether you want to talk about clothing sales, you want to talk about performance on the field, like they cover all aspects of it. So I would have taken that opportunity if I were him, but I love the fact that he wants to give Counter-Strike another go. I want people to stay in Counter-Strike. I want to see CS continue to grow and keep their IGL talent there. So if he can find a home, that's good. That's awesome. I just like I don't know what the option is right now. Like the chance with FaZe was kind of there briefly until they
I mean,
got
there's no
Kerrigan,
option. Like if you're comparing it to what he could have had with Valorant, like there's no 1-for-1 there. Like
that's what I'm trying to think of. Like is there a top 5 or 6
No.
team in Counter-Strike that's going to be like, I'm taking Alex right
Let
now,
me stop
right?
you. No. No. Because there's only, like you said, there's only a few that would even make sense. Like Navi isn't going to pick him up. Navi just doesn't do the mixed roster like that. You know?
Like, could he learn to speak Russian? Like, I mean, is it that hard? Like, maybe we can
Yes.
try that.
That's it, right? Yes and no. That's all you
He's
need.
not going to Shawless, Gambit, Virtus Pro, Liquid, Vitality,
Again,
been there, done
he
that.
probably should have just tested the waters a little bit. If anything,
Spirit's number 7, Tim.
and it's not that he's like anti-Valorant because he signed with that one no-name team to play in the tournament.
Yeah.
So
I think he's testing the waters. He wants to see what's available on both ends. Maybe he wants to compete a little
Yeah.
bit in Valorant, see what it feels like.
hopefully it was a
But-
good denied. Hopefully he wasn't like, no way, G2. Maybe it was like a, hey, can I just hang on to this letter here and I'll
get back to you.
get back to you. Yeah.
Look,
Hopefully it was a,
Spirit's
I'll get back
number
to you.
7, so maybe there's a spot on Spirit that would possibly work out.
Who knows? Call of Duty reports from Richard Lewis leaked. Oh no. Is
That's
this
supposed to be under CS.
CS? Okay, and we already talked about that a little bit. So there's that. In League of Legends, or not, sorry, Dota, the other MOBA game. Invictus Gaming reverse sweeps Evil Geniuses to win the Singapore Major. So awesome there for those who watched early this morning, as I caught the very, very tail end as I got
What
up
time was it on at?
in the 7 o'clock hour.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's when I woke up. It all runs into a blur at this point in my life, Anuj. Also, quick update on like episode 7 of the Dota anime on Netflix. Not bad.
I haven't started it, and I wanted to, and I just haven't had time.
They get brownie points for a Sesame Street reference in one of their episode names. So
The visual style of the show didn't seem overly appealing to me, unfortunately, on my first
Really?
couple sites. And like I said, I watched like just a minute or two as I was like talking to Kelly. I kind of hit play just to like get it kind of teed up for me, and I thought I would watch it later on. And the art style, I was like, I was hoping for a little bit more like vibrancy in it. It seemed a little bit like mute, but it's okay. I mean, I still gotta watch it, and I'll tell you
that
what I
might be
think.
fair. Like I said, I'm fine with the art style. That doesn't bother me as much. Like I said, like the Godzilla animes and the new Pacific Rim anime on Netflix, hate that art style. It's like a weird CGI. I don't know what it is. I don't like it. You know, maybe.
I'll give Dota a
Give
shot.
Dota a try. And you don't have to be a fan of the game, I don't think. Like my brother was worried because he's like, I never played the game. I've played Dota, and I don't ever remember the story ever even getting brought up anyways. Like I had no idea that Dota even had like a lore behind it. So, and who knows? I don't even know if the show follows it. I have no idea. But it's a good show. In the FGC world, Nairo former accused sex offender in the Smash scene, talked about him a little bit ago, is returning to creating Smash content after 9 months of being on hiatus as his whole court case and things have settled out. Just a reminder, he has settled with Captain Zach, you know, and that's kind of all the details that we have. So he's, as far as we know, is not guilty. He's been settled. It was from my public.
Settled doesn't mean not guilty.
I know, and that's why I'm walking the line of saying he is settled. He's
like, I can't sit here and tell people to go support his channel right now,
but like
without knowing
by
what
the
situation
courts,
is.
he's good. They're good.
Sure.
They're good by the courts. Would I let him hang out? No, probably
Like,
not.
is he babysitting Shep anytime soon?
No.
Okay.
So, but on that note too, we should also shout out Captain Zach, because it's also been pretty much proven that he's also a serial blackmailer and kind of messes up people's lives for a living. So I don't even know where he's at. He's been off the radar too. So, just seems like a not good situation to be in general. So
I don't know if the Smash scene is excited to see these names returning.
I would say the people in it probably are, but the people who are like you and I, right, where we're kind of on the outskirts of the Smash scene, it's kind of like, I want squeaky clean.
Like, these people were the reasons y'all never could grow the scene.
Right.
And because people like Nintendo probably knew crap like this was happening.
All I'm saying is,
you know, like, that this was not a scene they wanted to be involved with. They knew that much.
if I was in his shoes, if I was in his situation, the only statement I would give out there was be like, hey, we're all clear. Like, we've settled. Like, no, I would give, if I was...
That wouldn't give him any sort of, like, internet clout whatsoever, though. To say the words "I've settled," most people would understand that does not mean you're not guilty. And if they didn't understand, trust me, in the comment section, people would be, the ones that do know would be very clear about it. So I just don't think he's in a win-win situation. For him, he wants to return to make content. That's fine. That's his right to do so. Like you said, from law standpoint, he is clear to do as he pleases. But I think in court of public opinion, he's still very much like a loser in that retrospect.
Yeah. Permanently suspended. He's trying to get his accounts out. I'm just looking at this article. Blah, blah, blah. Captain Zach. I don't know. We'll have to look further into it. I'm just kind of curious. I just want to know. That's all it. I just want to know more details. And obviously, I get why there isn't more details out there, but I just feel like in this scenario, if you're coming back into the public eyes, you just be an open book on this one. You know? Like, don't. This is not the time to be like, can't tell you that.
We'll go check out the first 3 minutes of his first video that he posts, and we'll see if he addresses it. If he doesn't, we'll move on.
Yeah, it's definitely one that you can't just be like, hey, what's up, YouTube? Nairo here. Good to be back. Smash that like button. Definitely don't. Yeah, that'd be ill-advised. Don't come back doing that.
We'll go check out the first few minutes of his first video just to see.
I know I've been gone for a while, but let's not talk about that. Let's go on here. So anyways, Pikachu. No, don't do that. Don't do that. All right. Well, it is. Episode 319. It's done. It's in the books. Thank you so much for listening. Or if you skipped around, love you all the same. We will be back on Wednesday night to record Thursday's episode, talking some VCT as the matches wrapped up while we were recording. So we'll catch everyone up there. Again, we are doing VCT watch party, so keep an eye on Discord and Twitter for whenever we have time to hop on. You never know. Could be in the middle of the day. Could be at night. We'll see. But yeah, until then, follow on Twitter at The Center Ring. In our Discord, join the chat. We have a lot. Look, I will always implore people who like League of Legends, join the Discord. We have people in League of Legends who they always talk in there, and they're always telling me stuff, and I feel bad because it's like a different language. They're like, yo, so-and-so beat someone in League, and I'm like, yo, I don't know.
Awesome.
I logged into Wild Rift. What's up? That's my League of Legends stuff. That's all I got for you. So anyways, join the Discord there from our Discord at the Center Ring. But that's it. Join us on Twitter and join us next Wednesday, or I guess this Wednesday, for the next episode. For Anuj, I'm Tim. See ya. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone in chat, for stopping by. Joe, if you're still in the chat, thank you so much for joining, being a Patreon. Are you
I'll
headed
send
up?
you some nudes soon, Joey.
Yep, that is the rules.
That is part of the
Nudes.
deal. So congratulations.
Exclusive access to our
Keep those
OnlyFans.
Twitter DMs open.
I have to add your name
Most
to the
of them
list.
are of Tim and I. Should we shoot some provocative shots to send our patrons as fun?
I am definitely, yeah, I was going to say, he says demand hot tub stream. I am 100% serious that we should do a hot tub stream. Like, even if it's just us in the bathtub with our cameras on the tripod and us talking esports, like us doing an episode like normal from our bathtubs in just a bathing suit and like a white t-shirt. I think we should do it.
Let me sit on it for a minute.
I'll tell you
yes or
what.
no.
If you don't, I will. You can be there, and I will be in my bathtub.
I can record. I could be the cameraman.
Yeah, I should do it and interview Mango. I wonder if I could. That might get like, look, dude, I want to interview you from my bathtub. Would that be weird?
He might be interested.
Like,
in
that might
honestly.
be weird enough for Mango to be like, you know what? I love it. Let's do it.
I can imagine. That would be pretty awesome, actually.
I'll have to like soundproof my bathroom though. It would be very echoey. Can't be that hard. And just in general, electric shock. How do the girls do it? How do girls do streams from their hot tubs and not die from electricity?
I don't think anybody looks. I think they just I don't think anybody's listening to the audio quality. I should say.
Fair point. That's a fair point. The only anime figure I have a Vegeta figure somewhere. Which, hey, it's 2021. If I want to hump Vegeta, I should be able to hump Vegeta. Guilt free. Guilt free.
I saw you on WoW the other day. You get a mythic done?
I was probably on my mage at the time. I was probably on the couch. If I have to imagine. All right. I'm going to kill the stream just so we can get to finish editing and all that fun stuff. Anyone in chat? Joey, if you're still here, love you.
Love you guys. Thank you all for
We
listening.
still have
as
to
always.
play League of Legends at some point. I am serious.
We need to call Kevin and now see now that his kid's like
established
pretty much now. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. We got to do that and practice Apex.
Yeah, we have to play a little bit of Apex. I'm not telling us to grind it, but at least just so we can know the new map a little bit.
Yeah, and guns, right?
Yeah, everything.
All right. When is that? This weekend or something?
No. It's gonna be a couple months out.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
We have some time. That's what I'm telling you now, so we're prepared.
Yep. All right. Cool. Killing the stream. I will talk to you guys later.